Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for August 10th through 16th, 2020. So this week we have some very dynamic energy that's happening. We do have the last quarter moon in Taurus. We will also talk about Mercury-Uranus. We'll talk about Mars-Pluto. And then we'll also talk about the Sun and Mars making an aspect. As always, I'm excited to share the astrology of this week with you, and I am recording this live via Instagram, so happy to have you join me live or via the replay. My name is Shauna McGrath. I'm a professional astrologer in San Diego, California, and let's jump right in. So we start the week with the last quarter point. So we have a last quarter moon in the sign of Taurus on Tuesday. And so the last quarter is a point of, it's kind of a pivot point. It's kind of like a coming to terms point. It can be like an internal conflict kind of period. So this being in the sign of Taurus, Taurus is a fixed earth sign, so it's more focused on practical matters of what really works and what is actually sustainable for you. So I want you to notice how you're feeling, especially Monday and Tuesday this week. What is it that you need to change or that you need to shift? What is it that you need to even let go of in order to move forward with more ease, in order to develop your life in a more sustainable way? Now we also have Mercury square Uranus. So Mercury is freshly in the sign of Leo, and this means that it is in square to Uranus, and this will be exact this week. So Mercury is our communication process, our thought process, our dreams and divinations even as well. And so when Mercury and Uranus are in contact, there tends to be an influx of ideas and inspirations, and Uranus is surprises. It's things kind of coming out of nowhere, and Uranus is also associated with freedom, with a desire to have freedom, with a desire to have freedom and a desire to have change. So this could look like this week for you maybe getting a lot of ideas and getting a lot of like really exciting big ideas. It can also look like you thinking about ways in which you can create more freedom in your life. And I find especially Uranus is associated with freedom in that there's more of a focus of breaking free from something that feels like it's binding you in some way. So I just notice what that is like this week, what kind of things you're drawn towards. The other part of this week is that we have Mars square Pluto, and this is a very dynamic transit. So Mars is about physical action, physical vitality. It's about fighting for something. It can show where there is agitation or anger or rage even. And Pluto is about like very deep and intense feelings and thoughts and situations. Now, Pluto can be subtle. It can be more overt. It just really depends on what's happening in your life. Mars-Pluto as a combination is very intense. There's a lot of fieriness. There's a lot of fierceness. There is a hunger for power even. And so I think this combined with the Mercury-Uranus, I would like really pay attention to if you feel agitation, if you feel frustration, like where is that coming from? Is that something that, like, are you trying to, let's see, how do I want to say this? I think also Mars-Pluto can show where there is a tendency to assign your power outside of yourself, where maybe you feel like someone else or something else has more power over you than you would like. And so I think that's something to work with this week as well. So like also this goes along with Mars being square to Saturn as well, because Pluto and Saturn are within the same little section of Capricorn there. And Mars will be square Saturn for quite some time. It's not exact this week, but it is a theme that is present this month in August, September, October, and even November, because Mars is going to be retrograde September through November. So the Saturn element of that adds an element of like really being focused on where your power and authority and autonomy comes from, and the power structures that are present in your life and how you're working with those, how you are an authority in your life and how you deal with authority as well. So those are all very, I would say, like the Mars-Pluto, the Mars-Saturn, and then what we'll talk about as well in a moment, the Sun-Mars, like these are all very yang, dynamic, active, like in your face kind of energies. Now, if your personality, if your temperament is to be a more go with the flow person or to not like confrontation, this energy will manifest in your life just in a different way. So it could manifest as simply like feeling more, it could be like feeling more energetic, having more physical energy, more physical vitality. It could look like feeling more inner agitation, like just feeling like there's a lot on your mind and there's more frustration than normal. I think that goes without saying for just the context of what's happening in the world as well, like aside, like we don't need astrology to tell us that is present already in the current events. Another way that this could manifest, especially again, if you are a person who tends to not like conflict, this can manifest as conflict coming into your life from an external source. So especially since we're talking about Pluto, it could be people that have authority over you in some way. And so I'm not saying this to like say that, people are going to be doing things to you or anything like that, but I think that sometimes it can be as simple as the way that you perceive your power and control in a situation. Like that's really what we're working with here. And I think there's so many layers to look at this because I just reposted someone's posting on this on Instagram where your willpower and your strength can go a long way, but then there are also structural elements and physical situations that you are in that maybe limit your power and your ability. So I think it's important to explore those and to name those and to understand those so that you can work within what it is that you have. And I think that's a big part of what the Mars-Pluto is in this situation. So I'm going to, we're going to talk about Sun, Mars as well. And then I have 3 tips for you, but I want to read the comments and say hi to everyone. Hi NX, hi Phoenix, hi Christina, hi Glitzy, good to see you. Hi Nat. Yeah, hi Glitzy, it's good to see you too. Hi Cynthia. Hi Mermaid. Hi Mira. Awesome. Okay, cool. Good to have you all here. All right. So, and if you have questions as I'm going through, feel free to leave those either on the live chat or if you're watching the replay as well, leave me a comment, leave me a question. Okay. So we are talking about a week. So I want us also to keep in mind that we're in the waning phase of the lunar cycle. So we talked about the last quarter point is happening on Tuesday, and then we're in the waning phase. So the moon is becoming smaller and smaller in the sky, or appearing to become smaller and smaller in the sky. And this is a time of more incrementally, like letting things go, sharing things with others, contributing to your community if you can, and then over time going more and more into your own internal world as we near the new moon next week. Sun is in Leo, right? Mars is in Aries. Leo and Aries are both fire signs, so we already know that these planets are in a trine by whole sign. So this trine is going to be exact this week. So I think this is really interesting because the sun is a symbol of your ego. And I see this as like, ego can be destructive or it can be healthy as well. We all need a strong ego, a strong sense of self, and like, hey, this is who I am in the world. This is my personality in order to navigate through the material world. Sun can also be a symbol of leader figures and a symbol of people who identify as male or masculine. We talk about that more, like in your natal chart. It can be a symbol of, masculine figures or bosses or authority figures in some way. So there's another element here of that leadership, that power, that authority symbol being present. And this time it is with Mars. So Mars again is that it's physical vitality. It's wanting to like get in there. It's wanting to confront. It is assertiveness. It is this desire to meet conflict. And that can be like overly aggressive or agitational. It can also be in a way that allows for what needs to be said to said, and showing up in a way that is bold and fierce. So this combination, I mean, it's in a trine, so I see it more as things that flow more easily and more harmonious. The Sun and Mars are both placed in a way where they're able to provide symbols that are most pleasing to us. This is because the Sun is in Leo, which is the sign that it rules, and Mars is in Aries, which is the sign that it rules as well. Now, again, this is like we have to look at the whole picture of things, right? Because Mars is also in square to Pluto and Saturn, so this is a little bit challenging. Again, this brings up issues around power, autonomy, authority. But the Sun Mars, it's like, okay, there's a righteousness there. There is an ability to fight for what is best for you and to be strong and to be resilient through these situations. All right. So Phoenix says, what do we do with the inner agitation or frustration? Is it asking us to adjust something in our life? Ooh, that is a really good question. Okay, so I'll answer that and then I'll go to the tips for you. So I find that in spiritual communities, there is this idea that being angry, being frustrated, feeling shame, like any kind of like unpleasant emotion is seen as bad and something that we need to get rid of, and that there is something wrong if you're feeling that. And I think that is fucking bullshit. I think that, like, yeah, of course, no one wants to feel inner agitation. No one wants to feel frustration. And to a certain extent, if you are feeling those things consistently, like every single day over a long period of time, then yes, like you may want to look at what is happening in your life, because those feelings, if they are constantly present, it can lead to states, like it can deteriorate your life. Now, that being said, if you are feeling that way, there's often a reason, whether it's an internal reason or an external reason. And I think that we all go through phases and we go through periods. I think that it depends on what the situation is for you. So if there is something that's happening where you can't tie it to a situation, then I think that there are certain things that you can do, and I'll give you some suggestions. But I think the biggest thing, number one, is to do like a reality check with your life. Like, okay, you're feeling this inner agitation and frustration. So to go back to your question, Phoenix, is it asking us to adjust something in our life? So I think that if there is a specific situation that you can link this to, such as, I don't know, like a global pandemic or movements that create a lot of frustration because things are unjust, or there's like a societal situation that is in need of change and transition. I think that that is one thing where it's like you can't necessarily adjust your life to resolve that, because that is a natural response to those things. So like a lot of us are feeling agitation and frustration, I would imagine, just because of the state of the world, and I think that is natural. And I think that there are things that you can do to self-soothe yourself to move through that, such as making sure that you're getting enough sleep and that you're eating well and that you're giving yourself downtime to process, a place to process. And so that's one part. I think that self-soothing goes a long way. In contrast, if you're feeling these things and you can tie it to a specific situation in your event, like maybe your living situation is frustrating for you. Maybe your job situation is frustrating for you for one reason or another. Maybe it's inconsistent. Maybe the pay is not the amount that you think that it should be. Maybe the tasks that you're doing are not your skill set. Then I would say, yeah, like maybe it's time to look at that. I do think, though, with emotions, things are not always necessarily linear. I think sometimes an emotion requires an action of you, like requires you to do something. But I think that we, at least in our westernized culture, we like taking action. It helps us feel better about ourselves. One of my favorite quotes by Marianne Woodman was, she said, it's easier to try to be better than I am than to actually be what I am. And what she meant by that was we feel better about ourselves when we're like, yeah, like I'm trying to fix my life and I'm trying, I'm going to the gym, I'm exercising, I'm doing blah, 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 instead of being like, hey, this is how I am. Now, that's not to say we don't need to improve things, but I think that when we're talking about your internal experience, I think sometimes it helps to sit with it first and to like allow things to come up and to feel it completely and to explore the feeling versus trying to fix it so that you don't feel that anymore. I realize that was a very long answer to your question, but I hope that makes sense. I think emotions and the events in our lives are so interconnected, and like personally and then collectively, like there's so many layers and so many, like there's a lot to explore there. Let's see, says, you've got to acknowledge those things before accepting, appreciating, and releasing and healing them so you can live your highest timeline and be the best version of yourself. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that it's important to work with what's happening before something can go away. And I think that our psyches are very intelligent, and that if there is frustration, there's a reason that there's frustration. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's that maybe there needs to be a change, but maybe it's just something more internal than external. I don't know. Again, that, it depends on what's happening for you. And I think that, again, self-soothing, like really taking care of yourself and allowing a container for your emotions. So whether that is having a daily amount of time where you can sit down and like write out what you're feeling, or make a voice recording in your phone, or I don't know, like write a poem, do some music, just like go for a walk, like those kinds of things are incredibly helpful. And so I digress. Let's get to some tips, because I think that it's important to work with this energy this week. Again, like this is very dynamic. This is very action oriented this week. And the way to do that is to channel, number one, channel your ambitions through action. So I'm saying this because Mars-Pluto and Sun-Mars are very tied in with ambition and like wanting something like big and grand, and like wanting to make something of your life and your actions, and like wanting to make a difference, have an impact. So I think it's important to do that through actions this week because Mars is involved and Mars is about action. Tip number 2 is to pick your battles. So I think that when we're talking about this too, especially Mars is not a marathon runner. Mars is a sprinter. So I want you to keep that in mind this week, because all of this energy, whether it is agitated energy or frustration, or if it's just like physical, like you need to get up and move, or and I don't know, like side note, you might not be feeling super energetic. Like maybe your energy is a little bit lower, because when we have frustrations going on, and especially when it's more internalized, it can what's called somaticize in the body, and it turns into like muscular tension, and then you have tension and not a lot of physical energy. So I also would like notice, like, do you feel muscle tension? Is it time to like do a little bit of stretching that can get the energy moving? So pick your battles, because I want you to really focus on what's important for you this week. That is a segue into tip number 3, is don't let agitation become a distraction. I think this can happen a lot where there is agitation or frustration, or like even like righteous anger about something, where like Clarissa Pinkola essays in Women Who Runs with the Wolves, she talks about how anger can be a powerful change-making force, and that it's important. I think that it's important to make sure that we stay on stay on where it is that we're going. What are your priorities? What is important to you? So that you can move that energy into what is important to you, and not get distracted by bullshit that doesn't matter. Now, I think only you know what that is for you, and it's going to depend on the situation, it's going to depend on the day, it's going to depend on the week. But I really want for you to stay focused this week, so that all of this this energy and ambition, that it can be channeled into what it is that is your priority this week. Let's see. All right, cool. So let us pull a tarot card. So, if you have a specific question or situation that you would like guidance on, you can hold that in your awareness, hold that in your heart. Otherwise, this will simply be guidance and recommendation for the week. Okay, I pulled the 10 of Pentacles. So this is the 10s are sort of a culmination card. And the Pentacles are about material things, the material world, success, money, accomplishment, status, these kinds of things. This card is really a symbol of family. Let's see if you can see the whole thing. There you go. A symbol of family, a symbol of connecting with family, a symbol of like even multi-generational family. And it's a card that's about the culmination of efforts, the culmination of building, like building over generations. So I'm curious what comes up for you when you see this card. What I'm thinking about here is that it's important to remember the long game. It's important to remember that your goals are not accomplished in a day. They may not even be accomplished in a lifetime. Like sometimes it takes several lifetimes and maybe even the support of several different generations in order to do the thing that you want to do. And this card is also an encouragement to lean on the people who are older than you, younger than you, either like literally or in spirit. So I would say also, like if you do any work with connecting to ancestors or your family who have passed on, this is an encouragement for that. But definitely like a really beautiful culmination card, and lots of support around working with family or people who you feel like are your chosen family, so to speak. All right, so that is your horoscope for this week. I will be posting this on YouTube. Again, if you're watching the replay, feel free to comment and let me know how things resonate with you. And I will be posting my free class on how to look up your birth chart. I'll be posting that today, I think. So if you're watching this during the week, it should already be up on my website, shaunamcgrath.astrology.com. If you want to sign up for my newsletter to get the email when that is posted, you can do that on the link in my bio or again at shaunamcgrath.astrology.com. I'm wishing you a wonderful week, wonderful weekend, and wishing you much love, comfort, safety, and health. Bye.